for this morning. And the first is the Regional Community Partners Board of Directors. So that meeting is now called to order. For those around the table, please turn on your microphone when speaking so that those on the phone can hear you. For those participating via Zoom, please remember to unmute your device before speaking and mute when you're not speaking to create a positive experience for all attendees. Phone participants should use *6 to mute and unmute and *9. Oh, thank you. Thank you. I'm not sure. Hopefully you can hear me better now. Again, welcome to the meeting. Please use *6 to mute and unmute and *9 if you would like to raise your hand. Before we begin, on behalf of myself and the Regional Community Partners, I'd like to express our deepest condolences to President Javier and the Salt River Maricopa Indian community, Salt River Pima Maricopa Indian community. For those of you who don't know, there was a tragic accident involving one of their firefighting units, a ambulance. One firefighter was killed, another remains in very serious condition. Salt River Fire Department, it took the life of firefighter Brendan BC and critically injured firefighter Tyler Packer. We offer our thoughts and prayers to those families and to those and to the entire community. We all know what it's like to lose someone in the line of service. Thank you for attending today's meeting. The MAG public comment process provides opportunities for members of the public to comment on items scheduled on today's agenda or on items that fall under MAG's jurisdiction. 3 opportunities are provided for public comment, including call of the audience, consent agenda, and action items to be heard. MAG also provides the opportunity for members of the public to submit written comments via the MAG website prior to the meeting, as long as the comments are received at least 1 hour prior to the posted start time for the meeting. If you would like to comment on today's meeting, please fill out a white request to speak card located on the information counter by the door. Please be sure to indicate the item for which you want to speak and give it to a designated MAG staff member. If you are parked in the garage, remember to validate your ticket. The parking stamp is available on the information counter. For those who purchase a transit ticket to come to the meeting, please see staff for a ticket. Please note that hearing assisted devices are available from MAG staff. We will now proceed with opening our meeting with the Pledge of Allegiance. So please stand and join me for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Next item on our agenda is call to the audience. This is the opportunity for the public to comment on items that fall under MAG's jurisdiction that are not on the agenda or that are on the agenda for discussion and not for action. 15 minutes will be provided for the call to the audience agenda item unless the committee requests an exception to this limit. Members of the public who are attending in person may deliver their comments from the lectern at the front of the room. You have up to 3 minutes to complete your comments. A timer is provided to assist you. When the light on the timer changes from green to yellow, you have 1 minute remaining. If the light turns red, a buzzer will sound, meaning your allotted time has expired. Do we have any requests to speak? Okay, thank you. Are there any other members of any? Oh, okay, no requests to speak. Staff, do we have any written comments?
Thank you, Chair and members of the Regional Community Partners. We did not receive written comments for the call to the audience today.
Okay, thank you very much. Moving on then, item 4 on our agenda is approval of the September 13th, 2021 meeting minutes. Does any member of the RCP board have questions or comments on the minutes? Who's Mayor Weiss and Mayor Hermosillo, and I think Mayor Harkey just joined us. Welcome. Any comments? We are now on approving minutes of the RCP board meeting. Do anyone either here in person or virtually have any questions regarding those minutes? If not, could I have a motion to approve the September 13th, 2021 meeting minutes?
So moved.
Thank you, Mayor Peterson.
Second.
Okay, I think I heard Mayor Hermosillo do the first second. So we have a motion from Mayor Peterson, a second by Mayor Hermosillo. Can I have a voice vote for those in the room? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Thank you. That was unanimous. Those opposed may say nay. And let's have staff take a roll call of the virtual participants.
Thank you, Chair and members of the Regional Community Partners. I will go down the list of members. Please unmute and indicate how you vote. Mayor Weiss.
Aye.
Thank you. Mayor Harkey.
Yes.
Thank you. And Mayor Hermosillo.
Aye.
Thank you. The motion carries.
Thank you. Item 5 on our agenda is a request to accept $10,000 from the town of Fountain Hills to support the regional homelessness public education campaign. MAG Human Services Director Kelly Williams will provide a report. I know Kelly is with us virtually. Kelly, take it away.
Good afternoon, Chair and members of the Regional Community Partners Board of Directors. Thank you for having me this afternoon. We have generously received $10,000 from the town of Fountain Hills. We would like to receive this through the Regional Community Partners to be able to in part fund our homeless education campaign as part of our Pathways Home plan to reduce homelessness across the region by 25% during the next 5 years. I'm available for any questions you may have.
Thank you. Is this just an undesignated contribution to be used regionally, or is it to be used to assist in Fountain Hills in particular?
Mr. Chairman and members of the board, Fountain Hills had designated and offered those funds very specifically to help launch the regional public education campaign. We are looking at using those funds to purchase media buys so that we can get the messaging out very broadly throughout the community. We do have a goal of $100,000, and we do have another community that, pending city council approval, will also be making another contribution.
Okay. So the hope for that public education campaign is to have a $10,000 or $100,000 campaign. This is the start of that. And there's another community that is waiting in the wings to make their contribution. And it sounds like we still have some fundraising to do from the rest of us to come up with the remaining balance. Is that correct?
That is correct, Chair and members of the committee or the Board of Directors.
Okay. Thank you. Any other discussion on that item before we proceed? We have a motion to approve by Mayor Wires. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Mayor Gallego. We have a motion and a second. All in favor, all in the room, but we'll take a voice vote. All in favor of that motion, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Thank you. Let's do a roll call of those participating virtually.
Thank you, Chair and members of the Regional Community Partners. I will go down the list of members. Please unmute and indicate how you vote. Mayor Weiss.
Aye.
Thank you. Mayor Hartke.
Yes.
Thank you. And Mayor Hermosillo.
Aye.
Thank you. The motion carries.
All right, thank you. Item 6 is a request for future agenda items. Are there any requests for future agenda items from the membership? Okay, hearing none. Item 7 on our agenda is comments or announcements from the membership. Anyone like to make an announcement? All right, thank you. Well, that adjourns the first meeting that is on our schedule then. We'll now proceed with the MAG Executive Committee meeting, and that meeting is called to order. For those around the table, please turn on your microphone when you're speaking so that those on the phone can hear you. For those participating via Zoom, please remember to unmute your device before speaking and mute when you are not speaking to create a positive experience for all attendees. Phone participants should use *6 to mute and unmute and *9 to raise their hand. Thank you for attending today's meeting. The MAG public comment process provides opportunities for members of the public to comment on items scheduled on today's agenda or on items that fall under MAG's jurisdiction. I know I just read this, but I'm going to go ahead and read it anyway, even though I'm not sure that we have any comments, but it's kind of fun to read it, isn't it? 3 opportunities are provided for public comment, including call to the audience, consent agenda, and action items to be heard. MAG also provides the opportunity for members of the public to submit written comments via the MAG website prior to the meeting, as long as the comments are received at least 1 hour prior to the posted start time for the meeting. If you'd like to comment at today's meeting, please fill out our white request to speak card located at the information counter. Please be sure to indicate the item for which you want to speak and give it to a designated MAG staff member. If you are parked in the garage, remember to validate your ticket. Parking validators are available on the information table in the hallway. For those who purchased a transit ticket to come to the meeting, please see staff for a ticket. Please note that hearing assisted devices are available from MAG staff. Our next item on the agenda is call to the audience. This is the opportunity for the public to comment on items that fall under MAG's jurisdiction that are not on the agenda or that are on the agenda for discussion and not for action. 15 minutes will be provided for the call to the audience agenda item unless the committee requests an exception to this limit. Members of the public who are attending in person may deliver their comments from the lectern at the front of the room. You have up to 3 minutes to complete your comments. A timer is provided to assist you. When the light on the timer changes from green to yellow, you have 1 minute remaining. If the light turns red, a buzzer will sound, meaning your allotted time has expired. Do we have any requests to speak? I have not received any cards. Do we have any requests to speak or any written comments?
Chairs and members of executive committee, we did not receive any written comments for the call to the audience or any other item on today's agenda.
Okay, thank you. The next item on our agenda is item 3, that is approval of the consent agenda. Items 3A through 3C are on the consent agenda. Does any member of the executive committee have questions or request a presentation on any of these items? Okay, thank you. Prior to approval of the consent agenda, do we have any members of the public who wish to comment on any items on consent? Please note you will have 3 minutes total to comment on consent items. Please indicate on the white request to speak card which agenda items you'll be addressing. Your comments must pertain to those items. Those wishing to comment on action items will be provided the opportunity at the time the item is heard. I have not received any speak to request cards regarding the consent agenda. Do we have any written comments on the agenda?
Thank you, Chair and members of executive committee. We do not have any written items for the consent agenda today.
Okay, thank you. Could I have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
So moved, Mayor Hermosillo.
Thank you. Mayor Peterson made the motion. Mayor Hermosillo, would you like to second that motion?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. So we have a motion and a second. Let's have a voice vote for those in the room. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Thank you. Let's take a roll call vote of those on virtually.
Thank you, Chair and members of the executive committee. I will go down the list of members. Please unmute and indicate how you vote. Mayor Weiss.
Aye.
Thank you. Mayor Hartke.
Yes.
Thank you. And Mayor Hermosillo.
Yes.
Thank you.
All
The
right.
motion carries.
Thank you very much. Next is item 4. It is the annual performance review of the MAG Executive Director by MAG Deputy Executive Director Amy St. Peter and MAG Human Resources Director Sarah Daly. This item is on the agenda for information, discussion, and possible action to recess the meeting to conduct an executive session to discuss the MAG Executive Director's performance evaluation. So we're going to go into executive session now. Could I have a motion to go into executive session? Thank
I'll
you, Mayor
second that.
Gallego, seconded by Mayor Peterson. All in favor, please say aye. Those opposed may say nay. Let's do a roll call for those online.
Thank you, Chair and members of the executive committee. I will go down the list of members. Please unmute and indicate how you vote. Mayor Weiss.
Aye.
Thank you. Mayor Hartke.
Yes.
Thank you. And Mayor Hermosillo.
Yes.
Thank you. The motion carries.
Okay, thank you. The MAG Executive Committee will now move into an executive session. So we'll excuse everyone except those who are presenting. Next item on our agenda is item 5, possible action on the annual performance review of the MAG Executive Director. Mayor Gallego.
Mr. Anderson, we thank you for your service. I would like to motion that we do a 7.5% increase in our MAG Executive Director's salary.
I will second Ken Weiss.
Thank you. A motion from Mayor Gallego and seconded by Mayor Weiss for a 7.5% increase.
Mr. Chair, excuse me. Can we
Please.
let me point out that Mr. Anderson's employment agreement initially was signed on April 9th, and we've usually done.
Retroactive to April 9th, my motion.
Thank you.
Is that okay with you, Mayor Weiss?
It is, Mayor.
Thank you. So we have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion of that item? Is there any public comment regarding that item? All right, thank you. For those in the room, we'll have a voice vote. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. That was unanimous. For those present, let's do a roll call vote for those attending virtually.
Thank you, Chair and members of the Executive Committee. I will go down the list of members. Please unmute and indicate how you vote. Mayor Weiss.
Aye.
Thank you. Mayor Hartke.
Yes.
Thank you. And Mayor Hermosillo.
Aye.
Thank you. The motion carries.
Thank you. That's unanimous. And Eric, I know you'll extend our favorable review to your team as well. And we'll all do our best to make sure MAG staff knows that we're grateful for the hard work that's gone into the extraordinary circumstances and the major advances I think MAG has made over the last year. So thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you.
Moving on, item 6 is our legislative update. MAG Policy and Government Relations Director Nathan Pryor will give his report. Welcome, Nathan.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the Executive Committee. Focus comments today on the enabling legislation extension of Proposition 400. Of course, we continue to work on House Bill 2598 and Senate Bill 1356. We've seen significant movement during the past month on 1356. That is the version sponsored by Senator Pace. That did pass on the Senate floor 21-9. That's important because it retains the emergency clause, that provision that will enable us to go to the voters, the ballot in November of 22. That did get forwarded over to the House, where it did pass the House Transportation Committee on March 23rd. So if you're following all this, it means we have 2 bills in the House currently. Procedurally, these have not been put on agenda for the Rules Committee. There's a practice of the Rules Committee chair to have 16 affirmative votes of the majority caucus. So we'll continue to work with bill sponsors and leadership on that issue. Also noting that we do have from Senator Pace a strike everything bill vehicle, House Bill 2685, ready to go as well. Per usual, large significant issues in a legislative session tend to be heard or considered late in sessions, and especially related to budget discussions. So we are in that time period now in our legislature where budget discussions are ramping up, as well as seeing other significant issues around water, education, others. So our issue as in terms of extension of Proposition 400 is part of that mix. We continue our outreach to House members. We hope that our member agencies will continue that as well, and really impressing upon, in particular, members of the House to not lose sight of our bill. Things can happen rapidly at the end of a session when budget discussions are wrapping up and other bill issue areas. So we don't want to get lost in that mix. So again, we continue to encourage member agencies to reach out to House members in particular. Looking ahead for this month at Transportation Policy Committee and Regional Council this month, we will have John McDonald of Policy AZ provide the legislative update at those committee meetings. So probably provide a little bit more detail as to the goings on at the Arizona legislature. So with that, Mr. Chairman, that completes my report. I'm available for any questions.
Thank you, Nathan. Any questions for Nathan? Thank you, Nathan. The only number I want to just reiterate what a great friend Senator Pace has been, that he's really gone above and beyond and gotten involved in this in a very personal way. And I just want to, the next time any of us have the opportunity to give Senator Pace a pat on the back, we ought to do that. And then we are so dangerously close in the House. I think we just need to do everything we can to call on any political relationships that we have with our mayors to see, you know, because it's going to come down to 1 or 2 or 3 votes. And so I hope there's a hit list of people that we think are, you know, on the fence, and that we're doing everything we can to encourage them in the House. But thank you very much. That concludes the agenda items for this discussion. Item 7 is a request from members for future agenda items. Anything you'd like to raise on a future agenda?
I would ask that. I would ask that we look at the cost of living increase for employees of MAG, including Eric. Would like a briefing from Eric as far as where he's at with his staff himself and the cost of living. Try to keep everybody current. The cost of living has gone up so dramatically that what I don't want to do is have these people behind before they even get the first raise. So if you could do that, that would be awesome. At the same time, if we have the opportunity after discussion and a briefing, that we could also vote at that same meeting if deemed necessary.
Thank you, Mayor Wires. Mayor Peterson.
Yes, one of the things, and I sent a copy of a letter that I had a communication with Nikki Stevens regarding homelessness to Mr. Anderson, to yourself and to Ken Weiss. And that is tightening up the objectives, really challenging those as opposed to an objective across the spectrum. Let's do it by, you know, young families because of income or loss of income or loss of housing because the rents run up 700 or 800, to take a look at tightening those objectives up a bit more. So I'd like to come back and talk about that at some point.
Thank you, Les. I see Amy's head nodding. Anyone online or any other suggestions for future agenda items? All right, moving on. Are there any comments or announcements from the membership? Yes, Les.
Yes, in December of this year will be the conclusion of my 4th and final term as mayor. I have not filled out the papers for re-election, so I'm giving this committee as notice.
Did you say you have not filled out the papers?
I have not filled out the papers to run again, so this is my final term.
All right, well, you'll be sorely missed. Hopefully between now and the end of the year, we'll get ample opportunity to express our appreciation. There you go. We're going to draft you. Les.
Thank you. No.
All right, well, that concludes the agenda for this meeting. We are now adjourned.
Thank you.